All right, welcome back, guys. It is the GSL Up and Down matches. I am Doe. With me is Mole Trap. We just saw ZVZ. You know, I gotta say, I kind of feel about ZVZ the way that a lot of people feel about TVT. That's just me, Mole Trap.
Well, fortunately, I love Zerg versus Zerg. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting matchup. It's such a close matchup. It can come down to the wire more than any other matchup, I think.
Does Lucier's hair look lighter to you? It really does.
I honestly don't know.
I swear this guy lightens his hair before every match.
Maybe it's because their shirts are yellow, and so it looks like his hair is more yellow now.
That might be true. That might be true. ZVT on Terminus.
Yep, Lucira versus jjakji. And this is going to be interesting. Lucira, obviously the favorite player here, but just beat jjakji in the team league recently. And here's the thing: is jjakji, he actually has a really good record versus Zerg though. He's like 17-8, something like that, 60-some-odd% win rate. But
put your headset on, jjakji.
Not all of those games have been against good Zergs. We'll see if he can bring a win against a very top-level Zerg here. The GSL Up and Down matches. Don't worry, he put his headphones on.
Oh, good. All right, over here on the right side of Terminus, we have a high-level Zerg indeed. Teammate to Nest T. He is...
I am Lucira.
Lucira backwards is Aerosol.
I guess it is.
Yeah. And over down the bottom of the map, it is our blue Terran from the team, NS Hoso. It is...
NS Hoso, jjakji.
Jjakji backwards is jjakji.
It's true. That doesn't sound like a real word, though. I don't know. So, Lucira versus jjakji. Like you mentioned, jjakji's got a pretty good record in TVZ. He's one of those up-and-coming Terrans. He's really good. I've been impressed with this guy, especially in TVT. But can he beat Lucira? I don't know.
Nope.
Oh, you're just going to say it?
I'm just going to say nope.
All right. I think you're probably right. But no, I think you're probably right. But
I was being ironically definitive there. It's obviously possible. He has it in him. He's beaten some good Zergs before.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really beaten the best Zergs before. He's never really beaten anyone from Code S level in a very fast command center.
CC first, in fact.
CC first. Double command center, as they would
pretty
call
bold
it here.
move to do in TVZ. It is a big map for it, you know, so you can get away with it. There's always a certain element of risk involved, of course, with it. But, you know, I'm sure jjakji's practiced this build many, many times on this map against Zerg, so he's obviously got a plan.
Yeah, this is interesting. Lucira, he sent his Overlord kind of down that direction, and then is now moving it back away, so he's actually not going to spot it with his Overlord, but luckily he is drone scouting, so he's going to be able to find this out pretty quickly what's going on and be able to respond to it.
Well, you have to be really careful with that Overlord on this map because there's so many, you're just going to lose it if you kind of keep flying it in that way, so yeah, he just kind of being safe. Definitely better to use the drone for that, especially if the drone has attack claws and is going after the SCV building the command center. It can be very annoying.
Right. That'd be pretty sick if Overlords had attack claws, man.
Well, they do. They just don't use them.
Send their little tentacles down and, like, attack SCVs from the sky.
I think Overlords are just pacifists. Oh, I like this. That's an awesome decision by Lucira. Sees the fast CC, goes for a quick third. It's hard to get an economic advantage on Lucira. I mean, he has some of the best Zerg mechanics in Starcraft 2 of really anybody in the world right now.
Yep.
He knows what it takes to get a good economy, Moltrap.
He got his spawning pool up, didn't make a single Zergling.
Yeah. Well, he knows he's got some
He's
time.
making queens, but that's it.
Yep.
So, very, very nice. He knows he doesn't have to worry about any early attacks. He's probably going to get a couple Zerglings out at some point. Just in case, because there's a couple Marines out on the map now. But
look out, drone! There's no hope.
But while the Marines are chasing his drone, he knows that he can't be attacked.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lucira is going to be getting, a couple Spine Crows, like we can see right there. Nice wall off by jjakji.
Yep.
Kind of nice in certain positions. You can wall up with just 3 barracks like that. That's pretty helpful.
Now remember, there is this is the version of the map where there's destructible debris to get down into the 3rd base. So taking that wall is not automatically get him 3 bases for free. He's going to have to worry about those rocks being broken down, and Lucira coming into the 3rd eventually. But there is 3 armor on the rocks, so it's hard for Zerglings to get through it very quickly.
Well, there's a little bit of a disadvantage to not making any lings early on, is that SCVs can get in and scout you quite early. Did he see the 3rd there?
I believe he did.
I think he did too. Yeah, I just want to make sure. He did see the 3rd. Hasn't seen the natural yet.
He didn't scout the main though.
He actually doesn't know where Lucira's main is.
He doesn't know where Lucira's main is.
Could have proxied those 2 bases, and jjakji doesn't know right now.
So sneaky by
Lucira. I know. That's right.
He's still making drones. He made 2 Zerglings. He made 1 larva worth of Zerglings, and now he's continuing to make drones. And that SCV is like, he's like, all right, I'm gonna go build a bunker, and they're like, dude, you're on the wrong side of the wall. No, I think he's preparing to have some defenses there once he opens his wall up a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's where all the cool kids build their bunkers, man. Don't worry about it. So it's going to be looks like a bit of a bio push here from jjakji, making some marauders even, or at least just 1 for now. Pretty quick lair and a baneling nest going up for Lucira. Still a lot of drones producing just a couple lings now. He's going to want to stay defensive. Doesn't look like he wants to be the aggressor in this game quite yet.
By the way, I like the Overlord placement of Lucira. If you see on the minimap, he's got 2 Overlords in pretty good spots to watch for drops coming from jjakji's main. And he's also got 1 on the left side of the map to watch for drops, and at the top of the map to watch for those really roundabout drops. So really, really good placement there. And he think he's going to sneak in and check out to see if there's a 3rd. Doesn't quite get in. Uh-oh.
jjakji getting all those links, trying to break down the rocks. Whoops, major misstep by Lucira. At the same time, jjakji had a Marine in position to prevent the Overlord from seeing that 3rd. So really nicely played by jjakji. And it looks like he's just going to move out, put Lucira under a little bit of pressure. Combat shields did finish for his Marines. He's going to get there way before Stim finishes, but I think he's just going to try to make Lucira make some units right now, you know, make some drones, kill some creep tumors.
And some banelings are morphing right now.
Yep.
That spine crawler is just in a really good position to kind of scare jjakji. Make sure he spends a few more seconds attacking before he gets in there, and so buys Lucira some time to make a bunch of Zerglings and banelings, so he's going to be fine. But yeah, like you're saying, that's what jjakji was trying to do. Make him build units instead of drones, and that's what he did, man.
Well, I think what jjakji is doing right now is real credit to him as a player, too. He knows he's going up against one of the best Zergs in the world right now. He didn't try to all-in him. You know, he's not trying to do anything cheesy to end the game fast. He's playing a very economic game. He's basically saying, I think I can go toe-to-toe with Lucira in a macro game. That's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, jjakji, he's up there too, man. He's not just, he's not completely outclassed here. I think we'd say he's outclassed, but not completely. So, yeah, very nicely of him to go with that. And, I mean, it's Terminus Re also, so you're going to have a good chance of pulling that off as well. It's going to be really hard for the Zerg to defend a 4th base on this map, since you can just drop all over the map. It's so huge.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, it's easy to get those initial 3 bases as Zerg, or really as any race, but that 4th base is kind of the sticking point. That's when things get a little bit rough. So jjakji, you know, obviously he probably wants to take a pretty quick 4th himself if he continues to play like he has been playing. And so if he takes a 4th and denies Lucira's 4th, that's a big deal.
And Lucira, burrow's almost complete. He's actually moving banelings into the choke of jjakji to burrow those for a baneling landmine attack.
Very cool. I love seeing that stuff.
But yeah, jjakji going for a drop. Ooh, Spinecrawler is already relocating to deal with this.
Yep, he basically sideswiped an Overlord on his way there, so Lucira knows this is coming. A lot of Marines, though. They do have Stim now. +1 is almost done as well, but he's going to need to pick up pretty quick or he's going to lose all those Marines. Oh, Lucira, not quite enough Zerglings to handle that, but it doesn't matter. jjakji is just going to pull away.
Yep.
Wants to conserve as many Marines as he can. There are some Banelings there as well, so good decision.
And 10 Mutalisks are about to pop out, so that means that these drops are going to be in a lot more danger. It's going to be really hard for him to just drop all the time.
Now, jjakji has enough Marines that if he keeps them in a good position, he can defend against those mutas pretty easily, actually.
Yeah.
But then the difficulty becomes, you know, when to move out and what to take with you. Because he is going for Marine tank, but just very, very Marine heavy.
Yeah, tons of Marines.
Yep.
And he is getting +2/+2 on his Marines as well right now.
Yeah. Oh, Lucira, the first person with a 4th in this game, it looks like.
Wow. Sorry to mention again, but just look at the minimap. Look at the red dots everywhere on the minimap. He is not going to ever be able to sneak a drop in on Lucira right now.
Yeah. It's pretty tough to get anything past Lucira.
Some harassment coming in.
And kind of like we mentioned earlier, I mean, jjakji just has tons of Marines, so as long as his positioning is good with those, he should be able to defend this meter harass for a while at least. I mean, there is that critical mass, and once the Banelings and the Zerglings join in as well, that becomes much, much more difficult. Getting that infestation pit as well, you know, he's seeing all of these Marines. Fungal growth could be pretty devastating against that.
Yep. Lucira is getting his 4th base up now, kind of at the inside 12 o'clock position. And that's going to be very handy. He now has 8 gases going.
Well, he's going to need
7. Sorry, I forgot there was only 1 gas at the 3rd.
He's going to need a lot of gas either. Any way you slice him, man. He's getting upgrades. He's getting infestors. He's getting mutas. Probably going to be wanting to get a hive not too long after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's going to need a lot of gas from here on out. Same thing kind of goes for jjakji as well. You know, maybe to a little bit lesser extent, but he is making 2 Thors at a time now, getting his upgrades as well.
Now, like I said, jjakji's getting 2/2 right now. If he immediately goes for 3/3, he's going to be so far ahead. If Lucira delays his upgrades at all, he can get ahead there. But either way, he's going to have 2 upgrades on the Zerglings. He's going to be doing really, really well against Zerglings and Mutila's Marines having +2 weapons. And it looks like he's going to move out at +2.
Yep, good scan to get those burrowed Banelings. This is a pretty scary force for jjakji right now.
Look how far up the creep is. It's like almost a jjakji's natural.
Now, Lucira's made a lot of Banelings right now, too. And that's kind of what he does. He's known for making a ton of Banelings. And there's not maybe as many tanks as there could be for jjakji.
Yeah.
You know, he had to use some of those cycles to make Thors and things like that. So
no, you're right.
The question is, who's going to win?
Lucira, yeah, you're right. He'll make like 10 mutas, just enough. And hold that thought. Here come all those Banelings, a ton of Marines stimming to run away, but they've got to stop and fight. Sometimes a huge Baneling hit goes off. Oh my god, he did not split his Marines at all, and a ton of Banelings roll in and kill half his Marines.
Yeah, the only problem, though, is that now Lucira is pretty far down on supply.
No, he remaxed immediately, actually. He had such a huge economy, he just built all that over again.
Never mind. All right, well, never mind then.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say, never mind.
He did, you're right, he did lose a ton of supply, but he just had so much money in the bank that he just remade it.
Yeah. Well, looks like he's going to come in again. This time, jjakji doesn't have quite enough to handle that particular attack. He's going to lose a lot of Marines here.
Wow. That was a ton of Zerglings. And Lucira just has the minerals to spare right now since he's got his 5th base going up at the top. Now that is getting dropped, as we can see. He is having to send his mutas all the way back up to the top to deal with this. Now,
Lucira's kind of changed things up in his TVZ, I'm noticing. If you remember his games from MLG this past summer, so he used to make a lot more Banelings than we see now. I mean, it's largely Zerglings now in terms of his ground forces. That's very different than he used to play. I mean, he was making almost too many Banelings before. I thought in a lot of his TVZs, we saw a lot of that against his games at MMA back at like MLG Columbus.
Yeah.
But he's changed things up. Looks like it's working a little bit better now.
We're going for another attack here. Now here's the thing is Lucira, he can do this because he had the creep spread so far out. And hold that thought, another attack going in here. There's a lot of siege tanks. Fungal going down as well. The Zerglings sweeping in are going to take out so much stuff. The Mulists on top. There's no Thors to determine. So a lot of Marines go down, but he is again forced back. And Lucira just trying to trade armies here, trying to buy time. And
more Zerglings incoming, but you know, again, is it going to be enough? It's a nice micro from jjakji. The tanks weren't sieged, but so many Marines being produced. They are 2-2 right now as well, so they're going to be really, really good against all these Zerglings.
And let's not forget the upgrades.
Right, yep.
Well, you just said that. I'm just like, but I mean, the upgrades are. Let's not forget them from like a moment ago. Sorry.
If you forget those for even a second, you'll lose all your mutants. We're talking to Lucira now, yeah.
And he's having to pull off throws.
Banelings from nowhere. And jjakji is getting slowly whittled down now.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Lucira is actually getting more whittled down, though, because he just lost his 4th. So he doesn't have the economy to keep remaxing. jjakji is actually 30 supply ahead right now.
Yep. Now jjakji doesn't want to fight doesn't want to fight Ivtech rather, so he's pushing right now. He wants to get this done with. A lot of corruptors on the way.
There's the GG.
There's the GG. Lucira losing a game to jjakji. Wow, this group is really starting to get shaken up a little bit. Both Lucira and MC with losses now. This jjakji, man, he's nobody to take lightly. Lucira knows it.
He hasn't played really, really well there and just, macroed like a beast.
Yeah.
And also, again, let's not forget the upgrades.
Yeah, let's not forget those upgrades, Moletrap. That's true.
You're like, the upgrades are making a big difference. And I'm like, yeah, and also the upgrades.
Well,
anyway,
they're so important.
But he did have +3 weapons there at the end, I think. jjakji did. And for a while, he was 1-1 up on Lucira. So Lucira's like, I'm going to attack with all Zerglings. Now, attacking with a bunch of Zerglings against Marines and like that kind of mixture can be good if you have the upgrade advantage. If you're at an upgrade disadvantage, it's actually bad. You're actually just throwing away your units a lot of the time.
Well, Lucira lately in a lot of his ZVTs, I mean, he is still very good at what he does, but what he does is getting a little bit outdated. I mean, that's kind of how it is. He's getting his infestors a lot later than a lot of Zerg players are. He's just going mainly, Mutiling, Baneling, which is still an effective, combination of units to use against a Terran player. But a lot of Terrans, like jjakji's shown, has kind of figured out how to handle that. A lot of Terrans, most Terrans now have that control to be able to split their Marines well enough. So I think Lucira is going to need to switch things up. I think making less Banelings is a step in the right direction. But it looks like he's got a little bit more tweaking to do. We'll have to see what his next ZVTs look like.
Yep,
I'm
very
really
interesting that he really didn't get any infestors. He got like...
he had like one or two.
I think we saw one fungal in that game.
Well, he got the infestation pit fairly late, so he didn't really have a lot of time to get them out to begin with. So, that's
So, our next game is going to be, I think we're going to see our players right now. There we are.
Yeah.
Kyrix versus MC. Both of these guys have 0 wins and 1 loss, which means that this is a crucial game for both of these players.
Yeah, this game
If either one loses this game, they are basically all but eliminated. There are some situations where there's a big tie and they can still get into it, but if you lose 2 games and you're 0-2, you're pretty much out of it.
Well,
so it's
really,
very, very important for both players right now.
Yeah, it's really difficult to come back from being 2 losses down. We've had our quote-unquote best players both lose a game, though, so this group is still wide open right now. Nobody really has any clear advantage. I mean, jjakji and Czech are the only people without any losses at the moment in the group. Now, MC did beat Kyrix. We can see there in the last meetup.
Yep.
And a lot of people call him the favorite.
Yep. So let's go. Let's find out if the favorite MC can beat the non-favorite Kyrix, or Kyrix keep himself in the game with the GSL.